I always said I would drop Murphy if I get remarried. And I always get asked that question, how come you still have Murphy? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, listen.
They're doing things behind closed doors like Eddie Murphy, who knows me very well. You know? How well? Very well. You know? And what hurts me about him is, if anyone was after this meeting, and it will be filmed, they asked me, what do you know about Eddie Murphy? I'm not interested in destroying his life. I'm more interested in destroying his wife's life. I couldn't do that to her.
And all that when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells ET that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Is being run by perverted undercover fags that run around talking about how straight they are. You got big-time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up transvestites, having sex with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Everything you do in life is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it eventually comes back.
What if one of the biggest stars in Hollywood was hiding a double life? One that only his ex-wife, a few bold insiders, and a handful of nighttime encounters could confirm? For decades, Eddie Murphy has been the king of comedy. But behind the laughter, rumors have followed him like a shadow. And now, Nicole Murphy is speaking up, and what she's revealing could shake the industry to its core. This isn't just about infidelity or Hollywood drama. This is about a series of choices, a trail of scandal, and whispers that turned into front-page stories. From late-night pickups to deep connections with R&B stars, what really went down behind closed doors? It started with a kiss. Not just any kiss. A full-on, in-public, what did I just see kiss between Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill. According to an insider who witnessed the moment firsthand, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was deliberate. They were going at it, he said, swallowing tongues. And just like that, the carefully polished image of Eddie Murphy began to unravel in the minds of fans. That one moment opened a door into a world no one expected. A world Nicole Murphy had been living in for years, and staying silent about until now. Nicole's silence wasn't out of fear. It was protection for her kids, for her own name. But over time, she started to drop breadcrumbs, subtle statements, quiet interviews, and recently, outright claims about the man she was once married to. She didn't just endure cheating. According to her, Eddie's nights out weren't just with women. She alleges that there were transgender escorts, male entertainers, and crazy Hollywood parties where lines were blurred and secrets were made. It didn't end there. Nicole reportedly held on to evidence, receipts, of Eddie's behavior from the 90s that she never wanted to use. But now, with media digging back into her past and fingers pointing again, she's pulling the curtain back. The public believed they split because of irreconcilable differences, but Nicole's version of the story paints a darker picture. They were Hollywood's power couple, met in 1988, had a child before marriage, and tied the knot in 1993. But by 2005, it all crumbled. Nicole got a $15 million settlement, only to lose it in a scam that made her the subject of ridicule. The media painted her as greedy. Eddie called her an embarrassment after she was caught kissing married director Antoine Fuqua. But while the tabloids dragged her, she started pushing back. "I earned my name," she once said. "I have 5 children with that man." What she didn't say back then? That behind closed doors, she was dealing with things the public couldn't even imagine.
I always said I would drop Murphy if I get remarried. And I always get asked that question, how come you still have Murphy? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, listen, I was married to that man for years, okay? I earned my name. I deserve my name. I have 5 children with that name. I didn't see any harm in keeping my last name.
And it wasn't just her. Eddie's relationships followed a strange, painful pattern. Whitney Houston, Mel B. The stories were almost identical. Intense courtship followed by emotional manipulation and a sudden exit. Robin Crawford, Whitney's close friend, wrote in her book how Eddie mocked Whitney's appearance and treated her coldly after chasing her. With Mel B, he went as far as denying their child in public, despite the child being born on his birthday. Nicole claimed Eddie repeated the same behavior with her, charming on the surface, secretive sensitive and cold underneath. Which brings us back to the whispers. Was Eddie simply moving from woman to woman because he wasn't truly into women at all? One of the biggest turning points in Eddie Murphy's career and his private life came quietly, in the dead of night. It was 1997, and Eddie was pulled over by police at 4 a.m. in West Hollywood. That alone might raise some eyebrows. But what truly set alarms ringing was who was in the car with him. Sitting in the passenger seat was a 20-year-old transgender escort by the name of Adest Stone Shalimar Suli, a known figure among the LA nightlife crowd. Now, here's where it gets strange. Eddie's explanation? He claimed he was just being a good Samaritan, helping someone who looked upset, offering a ride, that's all. He said he was out looking for something to read at 4 in the morning, in a city where almost nothing is open at that hour except 24-hour diners and, well, the kinds of corners where Adest Stone was working. And it wasn't like this was some random traffic stop. The police tailed him for nearly 2 miles before finally pulling him over. 2 miles of quiet observation, 2 miles of watching. And when they did stop the car, the story Eddie gave was convenient, to say the least. He told the press that he had no idea she was transgender, that she was crying on the sidewalk, that he recognized her from the corner of his eye and felt compelled to help. She looked like a Hawaiian girl. She was crying. I was just trying to be nice. That was the line. But people weren't buying it. The media ran with the story, and for a moment, it looked like everything he had built could come crashing down. Eddie's wife, Nicole, and their children were out of state during the incident, raising even more questions about why he was out alone, late at night, in an area well known for its underground activity.
And all that went. All I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells ET that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, oh, Eddie Murphy. She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh my God. So I go, what are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late? She goes, oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?
Police tailed them for 2 miles before pulling him over.
Enter Octavia St, Laurent. A proud, outspoken transgender woman, Octavia didn't hold back when she called Eddie out, loud, clear, and on camera. She claimed he, and others like him, were leading double lives, that behind their image as macho straight men, they were quietly seeking intimacy with the very people they mocked. Her words weren't just angry, they were personal. She said Eddie wanted to keep his relationships hidden, treating the women he was with like shameful secrets. She warned the public that the truth was right in front of them, and people started to pay attention.
Is being run by perverted undercover fags that run around talking about how straight they are. You got big-time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up transvestites, having sex with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Everything you do in life is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it eventually comes back.
And the women that they're married to wouldn't believe a word you said about them. And these are the reason why we have to start speaking out. Because these men who are famous or straight or perceived to be these macho guys are coming out behind their wives, their children, having oral sex, being the women behind their women's back.
An escort known as Flash stepped forward, spilling everything he saw during his time at Hollywood parties, particularly those hosted by Diddy, now infamous for their secrets. Flash said he walked in on Eddie and Johnny, mid-kiss, bottom of a staircase, like they didn't even care who saw. He wasn't guessing. He wasn't speculating. He saw it. I was like, damn, the nutty professor really is nutty, he said. It wasn't just a peck. It was passionate. This wasn't some tabloid twist. It was first-hand testimony, and it lined up with everything Nicole had been hinting at for years. So now, the question isn't whether there were rumors, it's how many people knew and how far it went. Fans pointed out that the same patterns keep showing up. Eddie's name tied to DL rumors, Johnny Gill living on his property, escorts coming forward, trans activists calling him out, and Nicole Murphy, silent for years, finally laying out the truth. And yet, Eddie has stayed silent, laughing off questions, dodging interviews. But the stories aren't going away. Hollywood is built on secrets. Some stay buried. Others rise to the surface when the timing is just right. And for Eddie Murphy, that time might be now. Because one thing's clear, Nicole Murphy didn't just leave a marriage. She walked away from a web of hidden truths. And now that she's talking, others are listening. What do you think? Is this all just gossip from a bitter ex? Or is there something much deeper going on behind the laughter? Let us know in the comments, because this story is far from over.